Welcome to Fox Farm and Range. Got another tabletop review. This one's going to be a little bit different than the previous video. A little bit more of an informative video, something a little bit fun. Won a penny auction on Gunbroker. Happened to be a Taurus Millennium, a very early one. And there's some confusion about these pistols. Millennium Pro, Millennium G2, things of that nature. This is an original Millennium. This was the original that came out in, it actually shows up on Taurus's website in late 1997. A lot of websites say they started selling them on the street in 98. And they were produced for a surprisingly long time, from 97, possibly 98, all the way up until 2009, according to the website TaurusUSA.com. Used the Wayback Machine to pull up some old websites. The MSRP in 1997 was $344. I don't know what the street price was, but you always hear people give Taurus kind of a really bad rap, and I was kind of curious, how bad were they back in the day? And granted, they did make firearms for a very, very long time. Far before 97. They were making them back in the 80s. Obviously, a lot of revolvers, some all-metal semi-autos for a while. Obviously, they made the PT92 forever when they got the old Beretta factory. But this was like Taurus's first polymer pistol. This was the first one that they kind of went out on their own, came up with their own design. They called them the Millennium. Initially it was introduced just in 9mm. Then the same year, I think it came out, they introduced this same pistol in 40 Smith & Wesson. That same year, I think they also released it in 380 ACP. And in the year 2000, they actually released the PT111 in 45 ACP. They also made these with a titanium slide. Oh, they did make the PT32, so they did make this same pistol in 32 ACP. There was obviously some changes in the action, the barrel chamber, obviously. But they did make these with a full titanium slide, knocked a couple ounces of the weight off of the firearm. And you know, you hear so much bad about Taurus, and I've had a lot of good luck with some of their more modern stuff. And of course the GX4, people love those things. The G2C, the G3C, people are having fantastic luck with those firearms. Of course, you never have 100% perfection with anybody. Even Glock and Sig and Smith & Wesson, they all have problems. Everybody occasionally has an issue with a firearm that they produce. Some more than others, I'll grant you that. Let's see, they did also made these in a deluxe edition where they had like a mother of pearl or a wood grip that was actually inlaid here. That sounds kind of tacky, but it surprisingly looked pretty good on the website, some of the ones that I found. But it just said limited edition at the bottom. I think some of them had various designs you could choose to have done on the grips. That's all on TaurusUSA.com. I think they started that in 2002 and ran it until the end of production in 2009. These were the Gen 1 Millennium. The Gen 1 Millennium was superseded by the Millennium Pro. The Millennium Pro was introduced in 2003, so there was a pretty significant overlap. From 03 to 09, you had the regular Millenniums kind of as the budget pistol at that point, and then the Millennium Pros is kind of the upgraded model. 10+1, and this is a factory magazine. I don't know if my camera is going to focus or not. Let me set this down and see what I can do. But these are Mechgar magazines. Not sure. You have to play with my camera settings for the next video, I guess. Yeah, Mechgar magazines, which everybody raves about nowadays. But that was what was offered, you know, from the factory with these Millennium pistols. The pinky grip was not a standard feature. A lot of these just had a bare metal base plate down here, so it would look a little bit more like this, although you could actually see the sheet metal of the base plate underneath just kind of hanging out there. locked breech system. Extremely similar internally to the modern G2C and G3C, except that it's not a captured recoil spring, so when you do take it apart you got to be careful, or else it's going to send half your guide rod and the spring flying across the rim. Did kind of find that out the hard way. Interesting firearms. I actually took this in the GX2 to the range just the other day. Going to be trying to put together a video, maybe a new versus old, since this is the progenitor, and the GX2 looks to be kind of carrying on the DNA. And this, I was just kind of curious, how do they compare? How much different are they? And they're very different. They're fantastically different. This is a 10+1 manual safety. It does have a double action trigger, and it is a super long trigger pull until you find that break, and it is all the way back at the grip frame, and it is a long reset. You basically have to fully release the trigger. Very heavy trigger, but smooth pull. It does build up the closer you get to the break, so it's definitely something you can get used to. Compared to modern handguns, you may not like this. It's double action only, so even if you rack the slide, it does not prime the striker, so you are cycling the striker every single time. It does make for a consistent trigger pull, so it is the same every single time, but it does not matter how many times you rack it. It's still going to be double action only operation. Very simple, very reliable system. You know, I fired off 200 rounds to range and did not have a single hiccup. It was very accurate. You know, I think I was shooting the bullseyes out of the targets pretty easily with this. The GX2 was, oh my goodness, it's so much easier, so much better to shoot. Follow-up shots are so much easier with this. I'm not fighting the recoil as much as I am the trigger to maintain accuracy. And you know, it's a little bit more punishing as far as the recoil goes. The GX2, it's a lot more controlled. It's a lot easier to deal with the recoil. Not that 9mm is that bad of recoil, and then because of the fact it's kind of a smooth side, it does like to move around in your hand, and you get a little sweaty in here, and it gets a little greasy feeling. The checkering on the front and the back are really good. They're really deep. It's easy to get a good purchase on it. It does actually feel pretty good in the hand, but the GX2, obviously, that modern stippling, just far superior. The finish, you know, it's an old used firearm. I have no idea how many rounds have been fired through this. No way to know. You know, like I said, I fired 200 rounds at the range. I did not have a single malfunction. I did not have a single issue out of this firearm. Functioned flawlessly. I was using some Monarch 115 grain, just ball ammo I bought over at Academy Sports. And it ate every single round without an issue. I had cleaned it after I received it, and I did, you know, oil it up to give it the best chance at reliability. But no, I was really pleased with it. I'm happy with the purchase. It was a penny auction. I was very fortunate that I won that auction. Before it hit $100, I think I paid $93 for the firearm, which any firearm that runs, in my opinion, that's under even $200, I'm willing to take a chance on. And if it works, then I feel like I've gotten one heck of a deal. Pretty similar to most of the modern Taurus stuff as far as the takedown pin here. It's really small, kind of hard to manipulate here. Might have to go off camera here to kind of get it, because I need both hands. But the internals are pretty much exactly what you would expect. Okay. It is not a captured takedown pin, so that does come off. Might want to get the magazine out there. Got this camera in my face and don't always pay attention like I should. It's a little grimy and greasy and dirty in there. Get this out of here. But like I said, this is not captured, so your recoil spring does come completely apart, but it is metal. It's stainless, which is super nice. This is actually a really high quality flat spring here. I'm really pleased with that. The internals, more or less what you'd expect from Taurus. Barrel's finish is actually surprisingly similar to like the modern Tauruses. It might even be a little bit better. The machining's really nice. Of course, it's hard to judge machining when you don't know what the round count is. Got a little bit of that pasty gun grease in there, which is obviously kind of gross, but like I said, I wanted to give it the best opportunity to function properly. But you know, goes together nice and easy. You got to be a little bit cautious so you don't shoot this spring off into who knows where, and then you'll be cussing quite a bit. But oh, actually, something that I did notice is, and I've already screwed it up. All right, had to pause there and reset. So these do have a little bit of an idiosyncrasy when you go to reassemble them. So as this slides on, you actually need to apply force to the top of the chamber to get the barrel to properly cam as you pull the slide back, or else you will actually find that the barrel will not sit in the proper position, and it will actually be way back here, and you will not be able to get the takedown pin back in, and it actually becomes a little bit of a nightmare. I need both hands again to reassemble the firearm. So just remember that trick if you get one of these. Just as you put the slide back on, just make sure that you are diligent at pushing down on the chamber as you initially slide it onto the frame. It kind of helps cam it into place. Otherwise it just won't sit right. Kind of silly, but as long as you're aware of it, it's not intrusive. It's not, you know, it's not that big of a pain. But I do forget, because I'm spoiled by the modern ones where you just kind of throw the slide back on there, put the pin in, or sometimes the pin is just already embedded in the frame like in the GX2, and it flicks back into place and you're good to go. But yeah, other than that, fun little review. I'm thinking about doing a side-by-side comparison with the GX2. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do some time at the range. But no, I'm happy with this purchase. More of an experiment than anything, a little bit of additional experience. See if they're as bad as everybody said they were. I think it's objective or subjective, however you want to look at it. Compared to modern firearms, the trigger's horrible. It's double action only. But that's back in the day. A lot of people liked that in a carry gun. It was kind of like an added safety because it was hard to pull, so it wasn't going to go off by accident. But every review that I've found on the firearm, this specific one, has been favorable. Every review, whether it's, you know, gunblast.com, or there's a couple others. One I watched a head-to-head with a Kel-Tec P11 and the Smith & Wesson SW9M, and they chose this over even the Smith & Wesson. You know, in every single review, it had 100% reliability, you know, and what's really fun is the era in which this was produced. The double action trigger on a firearm like this was pretty common, and a lot of people actually praised the trigger. I like to look at the reviews kind of retroactively, look at what were people saying when they were new. You know, it's difficult to be fair to an older firearm, especially one like this. It's clearly a budget firearm. It's outside of its expected lifespan, and there's much newer, nicer stuff out there today, but it's tough to judge it without a little bit of objectivity. You know, is it, you know, for everybody? No. I wouldn't advise that you go out and buy one unless you're like me. You're a little odd, you're a little weird. You just kind of want to play with one, have a little bit of fun, add it to your collection. Just have one of each of the Millenniums. I've got good memories as a kid with the Millenniums. You know, my dad had one, and just really enjoyed them. Enjoyed the way they looked, enjoyed the way they shot. And I've got other stuff. I got, you know, high dollar, nicer stuff, but these are fun. And I like the Taurus community also, you know. But anyway, this is kind of dragging on, being a little redundant, probably repeating myself here, so I apologize for that. Look in the future for maybe a comparison, old versus new. Maybe we'll do show you the differences in the Millennium line over the years, the difference between this and a Pro, and the difference from the Pro to the G2, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you keep commenting and liking and watching these videos, maybe I've earned your subscription. I'll keep making more. It's really cold here, so in springtime we'll do more videos out at the farm. We'll blow some stuff up and have some fun. In the meantime, we'll stick to some tabletop stuff, and I appreciate you guys and hope you enjoy.